Hello and welcome to Connect to Love here on PRN-FM, where each week is an exploration into the many facets of our connection to love, oneness, and the human spirit. I'm Lisa LaRose, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Michael J. Russ. I want to say welcome to you. It's absolutely fantastic to have you joining me for this extra special show. How
Absolutely.
are you?
Thank you. I'm awesome. I'm having a delightful day, and I've finished all my projects, and now I'm just relaxing and really deeply wanting to get into this topic.
And we do have an extra special topic today because we are so delighted to be joined by Carol Collins and the teachers. It's such a delight to welcome her back. And for any of our audience members who may not be familiar with Carol's work, her path into pure channel guidance wasn't something she sought out. It unfolded naturally through her own spiritual awakening. In 2018, she began a daily meditation practice, and over time, she began experiencing communication with a loving, non-physical collective who called themselves the Teachers. What began as an unexpected inner experience soon became a sacred collaboration. The Teachers asked Carol if they could speak through her, and since that moment, she's been offering their guidance with extraordinary clarity, humility, and integrity. Carol, it's always such an honor to share this space with you. And the Teachers provided us with the most amazing topic, which is why I can hear Michael chomping at the bit. Said, Carol, what would you like to talk about? And they said, friendly longevity and abundance. So we're going to get into that in just a minute.
Hello, Carol.
Hello. How are you guys?
Oh, wonderful. What wonderful things have been unfolding for you so far this year?
I am doing running. I'm doing more movement, but I'm doing more running, which feels really, really good. It's not a New Year's resolution. I just feel like I want to. And more cycling. I like to do spin bike and spin class. And it just feels like it's intrinsic motivation that suddenly showed up, and I really love doing it, and I took a hiatus, and now suddenly it's back in my life, and I love that.
Oh, wonderful. I'm sure it is bringing, even though it's a lot of activity, it's bringing you a lot of inner peace. And Michael and I have been speaking about the wisdom that you and the Teachers brought through on the last episode in regards to creating inner peace and how it can be as easy as choosing a conscious thought that brings us joy. And I think it's so much in alignment with what's been quietly going on around us. I've been tuning into the Buddhist monks on their 2,300-mile walk for peace. It's so inspiring to see their journey to promote harmony and understanding. Every time I see a video of them walking and the people that come out to join them, it just fills my heart with so much joy and a sense of peace. And I'm sure that the guides and the Teachers have been a part of it as well, bringing a lot of the joy and whatnot to humanity.
Yeah, interesting about that is that I had an invitation to go and watch them or join them or something. I didn't know that it was happening. And I had one of my students that called me. She's in Florida, and she called me and said, is this something that you would like to do? Because if you do, I'll go with you. And the Teacher said, by all means, yes, emphatically, enthusiastically. And I said, really? I'm rather surprised. And they said, no, that's a yes. And then she called me back and she said, well, I kind of decided that I'm not really able to, but I will if you are. And I said, don't worry about it. And they said, it is a walk of peace from people, the monks, who have adopted peace as their way, but not just people who have adopted peace, but the subconscious mind has aligned with guidance. And so they are a walking example, soul to soul. They're a walking example of I choose peace. What is choosing peace? I choose guidance. I choose guidance. The soul within, the Teachers call it the aspect, but it is the subconscious mind. Their subconscious mind, those that are in that walk, their mind has chosen to use guidance.
I have shivers all the way from my ankles all the way up to the top of my head as you're speaking. Wow. And I believe that they're ending their walk in D.C. I know that they're going to be in Virginia. I think I want to say Fredericksburg. I don't know how close that is to you, but I had thought about driving to D.C. to be a part of it.
They say yes.
Wonderful.
I don't know what day it ends, though. Do you?
It's
Hi,
February.
everybody
I
who's
will
going to be
find
listening
out
to
the
this.
date. Yeah, we will definitely find it out and post it.
And so this is for anybody that is a listener. That walk, just to describe what the teachers are saying, is the unconscious part of our human life existence. It is the subconscious mind or the soul within. The soul within needs to use guidance in order to create your life in the happy, healthy, peaceful way. You know, we have fighting in the streets because the soul within is neglectful in using guidance, but it's neglectful because in this conditional living we have both positive and negative emotion, and so there is inner conflict about what to choose when. The soul within doesn't see negative emotion as bad because non-physical life, everything is good. And so in the condition of physical life, but I am a loving being, how can I reject anything? And so there's a reason for physical life, and it is to learn to reject things that you don't want. And so in this condition, it's negative emotion. There's a lot of different ways to describe it. And so the opportunity to be in the vicinity of those monks is the opportunity for the soul within to see how another unconscious mind says yes. It's like sometimes it's like visual learners, kind of. When you watch a teacher do a math problem on the board, it's so much more meaningful than having a math teacher describe how to do the equation, right? And so it's like the same thing. The soul within, being in the near vicinity, the soul within has an opportunity to see in action how another inner soul says yes easily.
Wow,
and when it
amazing.
sees it will never find envy. It'll find how to do it. It's an amazing thing. Encourage everybody to do it.
Yeah. Right before the show, it's so interesting. I think I have these soundtracks for my soul, and I was hearing in my head Rod Stewart's song, "You're in my heart, you're in my soul. You'll be my breath should I grow old. You're my lover, my best friend, you're in my soul." And I kept hearing that, and then I thought, then like the next chorus that came into my mind was, "My love for you is immeasurable." And I can't help but think that was the teachers bringing through those messages that we are truly ageless, timeless, that we have this beauty within us that we connect, and when we're in somebody's soul there, it's ever present. I just wanted to share that because, and especially with what you were just sharing with the year of the infinity. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful. Very, very grateful for that.
Wonderful.
And that leads me to our topic. I'm curious because over the last year, the teachers have been exploring a lot of wonderful concepts that really have touched my heart. I know Michael's as well, and I hope the audience members too. And when I think about the common theme, it connects with every human being: the soul, time, unconditional love, peace, vitality, and what it means to be a good human. So I have to ask, because I would love to know, and I'm as curious as a cat, and I think Michael is too. What is friendly longevity, and how can we incorporate it into our lives so that we can be more fully present in this life experience?
James to speak, Carol's Guide. It's more simplistic than you are imagining it to be. It is friendly longevity as your way of living human physical life. It means let friendly be the way, let friendly be the how, let friendly guide you to the what, and let friendly open your life to others that have that same perspective. Friendly longevity, the longevity of friendly. But in order to have longevity of friendly, you must want it from the inside. Now, people are friendly. People are friendly. You all use friendly. But you do not all use friendly all the time. The longevity of friendly, all right? And so you all have longevity of friendly, topic by topic by topic, or person by person by person, situation by situation by situation. What we want is friendly longevity, meaning friendly is the way. Capitalize W for way. The way to live peace, to live peace. Not live by peace, not live peaceful, but to live peace, to be peace, is to be friendly. And when you have friendly as who you are, who you have become, then you apply friendly on everything. And then you see situations differently. You see the world differently. You see fighting in the streets differently. And we want that. We want people to see fighting in the streets differently. We don't want you to see it as something worthwhile, but we want you to see it from a different lens, not rose-colored glasses, but from an altogether different lens, the lens of friendly to my being, my non-physical self. And so when you see fighting in the streets, and you see war, and you see death and destruction, because you do have it here, we want you to disengage from all that is negative, all of it. And we want you to just find a thought that is friendly. What is the thought? Well, it could be, but I like people, and I like engaging with people. I don't want to hit them. I don't want to fight. I don't want to curse. I don't want to scream. I don't want to be in opposition. But I like people, and I want to continue engaging with people. And so you break it all the way down into the finite elements. And the first element is people are engaging. Now, what they do after that can be positive, it can be negative. And when it's negative, we want you to dismiss and reject all that is negative and go back to the crux of the situation. The crux of the situation is people gathered here. And I like that. What they did, what they said, it does matter in physical life. And so we're not saying that it doesn't. But how do you be a peaceful race of people who innovate scientifically in ways that you haven't done yet? Well, you have to engage with the mind of other people. And so you have to come together as a community of thought thinkers. And when you use friendly as thought thinkers, then you bring forward the best ideas. And then the best ideas come together, and you have a collection of best ideas, and now you have something to work with. And so even when there is fighting in the streets, opposition, not everything is wrong in that situation. And the most correct thing is to identify that people came together to engage with other people. Leave it at that. Keep that. Keep that. And everything else can go, but keep that. Keep wanting community engagement. You have so much on the internet, and you have so much telework, and you have so much isolation. You have so much handheld devices, and you have so much technology that is causing conversation to go from here and there and outward, and there's less and less and less of human, straightforward engagement. No, there's engagement, but it's not face-to-face. We like face-to-face because then you really align with each other when you are friendly, and you don't align when you're not using friendly. So we want friendly and the longevity of it. Back to you.
Simple.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What I took from that is the simpleness of it. The fact that people are in the streets marching or doing whatever, the fact is they're together. They're not in a virtual world. They're together. They're looking each other in the eye, which lends itself to the opportunity to be friendly, to come up with a different way to engage with each other. And this is what I hear you saying. And it's a simple concept that at the time with emotions raging, people just aren't thinking about. That has to be the intention of coming together instead of the byproduct last in line. People aren't thinking about it. They think their emotions are so elevated, negative emotions are so elevated because of the emotional sensitivity that they've created. That hey, it's not the first thing that comes to mind, but it should. And I love that.
It could be. It should be. Yes, it should be. But should is a word that says, if I feel like it. It should be, and we do things, I should, but I don't think I'm going to get around to it. And so, in a way, it's almost better to just simply say, friendly is the way. Friendly guides me. And if friendly guides you, then you'll make choices and decisions based on a different mindset. And that mindset just perceives things in a nicer way. Friendly is when you cause yourself to be friendly, then the opinionated nature of human life slows down, and then logic steps in. And logic says, well, I'm free to be me, so others should be free to be them. In a world where people are free to be who they are, when people feel freedom, then you have less violence, not more. Although some people in some schools of thought will say, well, if everybody was free to do whatever they wanted, we would have hate and discontent. We would have chaos. And so you get what you think about and you get what you talk about. But when someone is perceiving that the future would be full of chaos if there were no rules and everybody had freedom, well, the reason we need rules and boundaries is because we have positive and negative emotion. But if we were using positive emotion only, then we would be friendly to ourselves and friendly to others, and there would be no need for fighting in the streets, and there would be no need for hurting each other verbally and emotionally or physically, right?
Of course.
We could do it. It made me think about the blue-orange game that the teachers shared with us in the last episode, that when we're focusing on blue, we see more blue. And then next thing you know, when we're focusing on orange, we see more orange. And I'm curious because in sharing the topic, they took the word friendly longevity and they linked it with abundance. Is it because of the thoughts of scarcity, the scarcity of friendliness that people are experiencing in the world, that we have become disconnected from it and that we have to sort of tie those two together? If that makes sense. Yeah, fear of scarcity.
Fear of scarcity. Yeah, fear of scarcity. If I don't get my way now, I might not be heard. And so and if I believe or if I think that I will be taken advantage of, then I will hurt. And when someone is hurt often enough that they don't allow it anymore, then they become obstinate, and obstinate leads to bully. A bully is someone who does not allow themselves to be hurt to the point where they will hurt others in order to set themselves far enough apart that they can't be hurt. Right? And then you have the opposite end, people that withdraw for the same reason. I've been hurt too much, and so I'm going to withdraw so that I cannot be hurt. But neither one of those, either end of the spectrum, neither one of those is friendly. Friendly is, I think I'm going to find something in this situation that I like. I think I'm going to use confidence and know that my opinion will be accepted. But you have to use confidence often enough that it can be used on a specific situation or with a specific person. Otherwise, it's wishful thinking. You have to use it. You have to use it often enough that it comes naturally to this situation and that situation. Otherwise, it's I hope this goes okay. And that's wishful thinking is better than negative thinking, right? So there is that. It's have a positive outlook, and that's, wishful thinking is having a doubtful positive outlook, but a confident positive outlook is, I'm okay saying this. People will take me okay. They will take what I'm saying without misinterpreting. And there are people like that. They say, well, I'm able to say what I want to say, and people don't harass me or discourage me. They understand what I'm saying. Or they ask me to clarify, and then I do. and then I do, right? Because we don't all understand everything that, that someone else is trying to put out there. And so confident, positive outlook is friendly. Confident, positive outlook, that's friendly to yourself and friendly to others at the exact same time.
That's fantastic. And I want an
positive outlook is good, though.
Positive outlook. Yeah, I should say I want
Well, positive outlook is good, but an abundance of confident positive outlook is even better. It's really just, how far do I want to take this idea? And some people just say, well, that's dumb. I have an opinion, and my opinion is this, and my opinion matters. And that, while it's true, it does matter, it's not an example of the use of friendly. It's, my opinion matters, take it or leave it. It's the influence that comes along with it. Is the influence to become outraged, or is the influence to understand? And someone who doesn't understand the other person, and they just say, well, this friendly business it's kind of dumb because I have an opinion, and my opinion matters, and so I'm going to put it out there because my thought needs to be heard. Well, that is true, and there is some gentleness towards yourself in standing upright and making sure that your voice is heard. But that's only one half of the equation. You have to understand why the other person is saying what they're saying. And what they're saying is it's simply where their mind is, what their upbringing has been, what their life has included. Nobody means to be bad or harassing or obstinate or violent. It's the way of physical life. Sometimes things happen. It's forgiveness. At the core of it, it's forgiveness. So much so that it just becomes automatic reversal of the perspective. And then the perspective is, I can see through the minutia. I can see through the obvious, and I find that nugget of truth in there. Needle in a haystack. There's always something. There's always something that you can look at and say, this is a powerful coming together. The detail might be violence. The details might be, atrocities. The details might be everything, an example of everything you don't want. But there's still something in it that we do want, and we do want powerful coming together of human engagement. So that much. So there is something to appreciate in everything. That's being friendly to what human life has offered. It's just being friendly. If you think of it this way, I guess it's don't reject completely anything. Identify something in the situation that is a healthy thing for the future. And it might seem like a grain of sand, but something is positive in every situation. What that does is it teaches the soul within to lean towards the positive always. Always means always. Always means always. Even in the worst situation, always there's something that can be promoted as something positive for the future. And then we get more of it. It's the influence that repetitive, positive outlook will cause the subconscious mind to reject negative outlook. And when negative outlook is rejected, the negative behavior is rejected. And then you have a world that's on an upswing on how it engages with each other. And that's what we all want.
Yeah. Interesting, and thank you so much for sharing that, because I felt like I was being wrapped in a warm blanket. But I know the opposite, which is when you encounter the other energy, it's like coming up against a brick wall. And I'm curious if the teachers have any suggestions how we can extend friendly when we come up against the friction or that brick wall, that feeling like there's no opening point.
Make a U-turn and get out of the thick of it. As James Speaker.
There you go.
You can put any analogy that you want to with it. If you picture yourself in traffic, take an exit, take a side road, get out of the thick of the traffic. If you are in an argument with someone, just raise your hand and say, I need a moment. Walk out of the room. I'm not turning my back on you. I'm not turning my back on the topic of conversation, but I need a moment. My emotions are getting out of hand. I need a moment. And it's having the grace to be able to do it. But if you wait for too long, then it becomes increasingly harder to do it. So it's practice. It's practice. It's practice. Don't ever wish something bad to yourself, but negative things show up. The milk is sour. What do? Dump it with a frown on my face? Or do I say, you know what? This can be handled differently. I can whistle while I work. I can watch the milk flow as I did as a child, and it was fun to see the milk flow out of the carton. And so I can just say, so I guess I didn't drink that much milk this week. I sure didn't. And because I didn't, it went bad. I don't have to wear a frown. I just find the fact. That's where you bring logic into it. Just find the fact. I lost my best friend. Got a job and moved away. Lost my best friend. We didn't lose him, but you lost that day-to-day, person-to-person, face-to-face conversation.
Face-to-face, right. Mm-hmm.
Face-to-face, right? And so, but there is loss in it. But now you have an opportunity to travel more frequently. Now you have an opportunity to really do something different, like audio text message, so they can hear your voice and you can hear theirs. The inflection, it's so much more enrichment to life when you use, there's all
audio,
kinds of things that you can do.
FaceTime,
but will you
video.
do them? Right.
Yeah, there's all those things.
And so,
I'm just saying, excuse me, sir. This is brilliant conversation because to me it's highly understandable. it's if you just sit back and listen to what you're saying, what the teachers are saying, we can choose to not be part of something that elevates our emotions. We can choose. Like I say, we can take the exit. We can take the off-ramp. Find ourselves getting a little bit too riled up in traffic or emotionally out there, the opposite of positive. We can literally take an exit. Who knows what we might see? We might actually see something really, really beautiful if we're paying attention, which can totally flip the script for us about being where we are and about how we're thinking. And I know that it's a choice. It's a choice that we can choose to just extricate ourselves from that situation and in a way that is friendly, that is positive and loving and kind, and literally just choose to be somewhere else. And the interesting thing about negative emotions, I know I see it all the time around here. I live in an area where people are really, sometimes they can get a little bit elevated about their own beliefs, and that's exactly what I do. I don't dedicate or invest any emotions in their point of view. I just listen, and I excuse myself when I have the opportunity to do so, and it just diffuses everything. They no longer have something to be right about, right? Which is, it's kind of like a tape player. They're espousing these things that they think they believe because of what they've watched or heard or been indoctrinated about. I don't know, however they received it. But it's so simple just to do that and not be a part of it. I'm thinking this is exactly what they're saying. Am I right, or am I on the right track?
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. It's the idea of, is this healthy? You can have an opinion, but choosing to be right, the need to be right, versus the desire to express, right? There's a difference. When someone expresses their opinion with a need to be right, then it comes across forceful and dominant. But also the need to be right means that your listening skills have been diminished because you're not willing. You have a need to be right, which means you're not open to hearing where you may have been wrong or off course. And so it's how do you choose to live your life? And the words that you use, like what you just used, the expression of guilt comes in various forms. as does the expression of friendly. But guilt can lead you to sad or anger. Friendly leads you towards joy. And who turns down joy? Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely not. You know, it's finding. You said something a little bit earlier about finding common ground, so to speak. You didn't say common ground, but I heard commonality. What do we have in common versus what we don't have in common? And people choose to focus on what they don't have in common with other people. But if you're standing face to face with somebody, you're going to find something in common. I've always found that. And down where I live here, it's completely. You know, I'm in an area where people have very strong opinions based on what they've heard and what they believe or what their perceptions are of political life or whatever, financial life, you name it. And so I always look for the commonality. I can find it in a split second because I've been working with people for a long time. And then the conversation totally shifts to friendly. And I love doing that. I love being in a position where I'm choosing friendly. And I can find that commonality, and we can converse in a way that is where we're both laughing and both joyful and having fun. And there is the negative is dispersed like a cloud of smoke. It's fantastic, actually, to develop that.
Yes, yesterday, and it's so interesting that you bring that up because there's a project where they took an active working phone, and they put the phone booth that said, talk to a Republican, and they put it in an area of California where it's more of a liberal area. And then they took another phone booth and they put it in a very conservative area. I don't remember what state it was in. And it said, talk to a Democrat. And when either party picks up the phone, the other phone will ring. They don't even have to dial it. And what they found in this short little time that they've been doing this experience, that when you can actually speak to somebody on the other line and hear their points of view, it's shifting and they're having peaceful conversations. There's no screaming or yelling or pointing fingers. It's opening that doorway, and people are finding that they do have things in common. And they do value each other's opinions. And I thought, what an interesting opportunity to be able to hear someone else's perspective, to discover that we're not so different. And I find the timing so curious because I've watched it right before we had this conversation today. And I can't help but think that the message is connected because it's allowing us an opening to bridge the gaps that keep us apart in community. And perhaps it's connected to the monks walking in peace. It doesn't matter what political party, where you're from, whatever. It's everybody is walking for a cause that they believe in, which is peace on earth.
Peace. Right. Everybody can get behind that.
Peaceful walking.
Everyone.
Peaceful being. Yeah, peaceful walking, peaceful being, peaceful talking, peaceful engaging equals I feel good about what I'm doing. Now, not everybody agrees that the walk for peace is useful. What does it do? How does it affect me? Well, they're doing it to showcase. We are willing to walk. We're not storming. We're not trudging. We're not stomping. We are not flying and discussing. We're simply on a walk amongst friends.
Yeah.
Let's go for a walk,
I
you
agree.
and I.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just now. What do they talk about? They are talking. They're not examining. They're not preaching. They're walking. They're taking a walk in a park, but that park happens to be across the country. This is what you can do with your life. You don't have to be overstressed, overworked, overtired, overfatigued,
stimulated.
Overstimulated, over the moon about love, and then leaving your friends and family behind because for a moment in time you can think of nothing else. And so some things feel good, but in the grand scheme of things, they're not. All things ought to be not simply in balance of positive and negative. And the balance is simply be balanced. Be so balanced that the worst negative emotion doesn't knock you over. It doesn't throw you for a loop. How do you do that? You have to be firm in your knowing that friendly equals peace. And so these monks are simply doing one thing. They're going for a walk. It's a very, very long walk, and that's not sarcastic. It's a very, very long walk.
It is.
And there are rest breaks, and they are eating, and they are being taken care of. But they simply said, we want to show people one thing. Life does not have to be about go, 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 shop, 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 buy, 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 fight, 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 rest, 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 begin again. It could simply be about, I think this month what I want to do is I just want to walk a lot. And while I walk, I want to talk to my friends. I need respite from the day-to-day things. You know, we want vacations to be holiday. We want it to be holiday-like. And so many of you say, and this is James to speak, I do like to say this, it's very simple. The energy is present here of peace. So many of you say, I need a vacation from my vacation. I mean, if you think of your holidays are much more relaxed. There's much more downtime. They're treated like a specialty. Vacations, you put so much into it, and you joke and you laugh and you just have a good time. When you say, I need a vacation from my vacation, and some do mean that they had such a good time that they couldn't get away from having a good time, but in essence it means that they were overemphasizing what to do so that they don't miss out on it. And when you have a moment in time, like a vacation, where you feel like you have to fit it all in, otherwise you'll add disappointment, it means that somewhere in the recess of your mind, there's a belief that you might not be able to go again. And sometimes it's money, sometimes it's time, sometimes it's the people. We want you to live and operate firm, standpoint of friendly. If I get to this excursion, I get to it. And if I don't, well, I'll do it next time. You know, for example, we are taking a group of individuals to Antarctica in a couple of weeks. And we're going to go again in 2027, 28, and beyond. And there was an opportunity that one person found, and it was taking a catamaran ride from one island to another in the South America region, and they would be able to see some penguins and some beautiful, beautiful wildlife. But the catamaran was the part that person really, really wanted, catamaran to get there, and it was all sold out. And it was very fun to hear that person say, for us, but also for others, you know, I think I'm just going to make sure that I get on that trip next time. I can see penguins. There's another trip going. I just really, really wanted to be on the catamaran. But sometimes people will say, well, now what do I do? That's the one I wanted. Right. And then they can't even think straight, right? And so what does the negative emotion is an intrusion to your natural state of mind. Your natural state of mind is, I have so many choices. I know what my preference is, and if my preference is available, I'll take it. And if it's not, then number 2 equals joy as well. That means number 2 becomes 1, and number 1 becomes 2. It just means that in the act of rearranging, in the act of knowing who you are and what you like, the order makes no difference. And that's what these monks are doing. They're simply saying, it makes no difference if we walk 1 mile or 5,000 miles. We have decided what feels good. They got together and they had a conversation. And the conversation was gentle. And it was about planning, much like people do in their regular day-to-day work lives or family lives. And they talked, and they had ideas surface. And then they came up with an idea, and they all said, well, now that one's interesting. Let's stop a moment, and let's talk about that one. Because they all found it interesting. And then they talked about it. And they talked, and they talked, and they talked, and they talked, and they talked. And then they decided that this one goes on the list. Because they all found so many things that would invigorate joy. Just thinking about it, for these monks, just thinking about it and talking about it invigorated, activated joy. Doing it is also activating joy. but it's also an opportunity to showcase to others that sometimes you don't have to wait until retirement to get what you want, to do what you want. We live a life that is far different than most lives. And so we get to do what we want to do, sort of. But in this case, we all agreed. And so we get to do what we have agreed upon as a group, as a community, because communities can agree. They can be far different from most. But in that difference, they still find something that they enjoy, and they don't hide from it. They're not hiding. They're not doing a walk amongst themselves. They are simply showing the world at large, this is what confidence and love combined looks like. We know we're different. We know that our life is day to day to day. What we do and how we think and what we engage in is different than most. But we're okay with it. We're okay with it. We're so okay with it that we are going to openly showcase who we are and what we're like, because others might join us. They might.
Yes, beautiful. Yeah, they had done a 110-day pilgrimage across India and Nepal, and I didn't see any coverage of that, but I do know that I believe it's Aoka, the peace dog that joined them, was a stray who just started walking along with them, and he joined them for that journey, and now he has joined them for the journey here. I catch little snippets of it here and there, and I'm so glad you brought up joy, because it fills me with, I find myself with these tears of joy as I'm watching the people's reaction that are walking along with them. And some of the little kids are just holding up signs. They're not joining them in the walk. And I think it's sort of a good reminder that wherever we are, we can walk through this world in a similar fashion. There's sometimes people will hold up a sign for us that goes, way to go. And sometimes you just feel alone on that journey, and sometimes you have a little furry companion that joins you, or something that comes along. I have these little deer that come every night, and they were way down the street, and they saw me, and they all come out. There was about 12 of them, and they all come up, and they look at me, and I sort of, I say, hey, mamas, how you doing today? Hey, babies. And I just, I feel very honored. I welcome them into my space, and they come and they have some snacks, and then they go about their day. And I believe we can all be ambassadors of peace, joy, love, and connection. And all of the things that the teachers are here to remind us of. Yeah, I'm so grateful for those insights. Thank you, teachers, and thank you, Carol.
It's interesting because you can find the choice I'm always faced with, and I always choose friendly. But everybody has a choice when they meet someone. They can focus on what they have in common, or they can focus on what they don't have in common. And the road to what you don't have in common is a dark one. There's no expansion there. You're only stuck there in that negativity, which is why we all can choose the friendly version of that choice, which is finding that commonality and speaking with them and being able to laugh and to smile and to bring peace to that moment in time as you're looking into the eye of another soul. And for me, I know that we have that ability. We have that ability. It took me a while to get to this particular point, by the way. I mean, it's like 40 years to get to the point where I go out and find joy in absolutely everything and choose to deviate away from those things that elevate negative, that could create negative emotions or contacts with people. And I love the teachers to speak to this, because you might have already answered this question, but there are times when I go out, and I know, Lisa, you must have the same situation, where you will come across someone who is all consumed by negative things either happening with themselves or their lives, and they just can't get past it. Their whole attitude is consumed by it. Their communication is consumed by it. And I ran into 2 people like that during Christmas, and all I did was just smile and just think loving thoughts. for them. That's all I did. I didn't want to be in a situation where I didn't want them to expand upon that negativity. I just wanted to be the light for them, so to speak, an example of calm and peace in that moment. Can the teachers kind of speak to how people can, because there are people like this, and how they can engage positively with them by not placating to their own negativity, their own drama in their lives, but just literally being an example of friendly and what they could be?
You create your own reality. You create your reality. It's the answer. And we love your question. You create what you experience. You draw from others what you intrinsically want. And so all of you have positive and negative in your memory. And so you will draw negative from people sometimes, and you'll draw it from yourself sometimes, especially when you aren't forecasting in a way that means I intend for this to happen. You know, you think about the future, but you don't really think about whether or not you're thinking positive or negative. You think about the future and you think about the past, and you just think about what reality has shown you, and then you expect that it's going to happen again. But when you take the time to slow it down and pull back, and you use intention-based living, and you cause your thoughts to be, this is what I want, and that's what you did. You said, I want them to feel happy and healthy. I want them to not focus on what is wrong. What you did, although it was good for them, it was good for you first. Because what those kind of intentions, what that kind of human thinking does, is it causes you to draw from them happier disposition when they are around you. And so your life gets better. But because your life gets better, you have positive thought about them. And that transfers to them. And then they feel that happiness. And so their life gets better. So the best thing that a human being can do for one another and for humanity as a whole is to want happy engagement. Everywhere, with everyone, on every subject, all of the time. Happy engagement. What I want for you is for you to be happy. What I want for you and you and you and you in this country and that country, what I want for you is to be happy. Because when you know that they're happy, when you are exposed to even momentary happy, then you extend their happy. But you drew it to yourself first. And so it's intention-based thinking, which leads to happy experiences if you do it with a positive outlook. Now, intentions, we mean it from a positive vein, but the way that people talk, oh, I hate this. Oh, I hate that town. I never want to go there. You don't want to go there on vacation, do you? That place is terrible. The way that you speak, it causes different people to have a different opinion and viewpoint. It certainly does. But it also pushes towards location and groups of people, nationalities, male versus female, the races, all of those things. And so we want you to, I want every race in this population to be happy. I want every human being to be happy. I want every stray dog to be happy. I want every animal on the planet to be happy. I want happy to be the emotion that human beings work with. I want happy to be what all beings work with. The young and the old, the small, the weak, the four-legged kind, the winged kind, the aquatic kind. I want them all. I want them all to be happy. Because when you want that, then you are drawing experiences to you to prove that that was your intention. It must come back to you to show you what your intention was. And the more you do that, the more positive experiences you have. And the more positive experiences you have, the more you like your life. And the more you like your life, the more other people see that you like your life. And so it just starts to gain momentum. And as you have those happy experiences from your positive intention, and your intention, the way you phrased it, it was still about them. I I want them to be happy. I want them to be healthy. I want them to feel kind. And so they must show you that your intention was valid, which means that they become happy, at least around you. And then it cascades forward in all directions. That's what we want for human beings.
Well,
thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Absolutely. And that's why I feel so blessed. I know Michael does, that you, Carol, can join us on a regular basis to share these really important messages. It's a living broadcast of friendly love. I'm so grateful. I really am.
I love them. They are so wise, and they are so friendly. And it's nice to hear them just talk about, life as it is and what positive thought can do. It's a joy. Thank you so much for having me every month. This is such a delight, and I know that they always add something to the conversation that leaves, a nugget of wisdom. And I guess for me, it's be you. Be you, and don't be discouraged. Just be you. Be you, and know that others will accept you. Because when you know it, not when you want it, but when you know it, it's like knowing how to drive a car. When you know it, you just get in the car and go. You don't worry about whether or not you're going to be able to drive that day. You just know that you know how. And so when you know that other people are friendly towards you, that other people accept your viewpoint, then you don't worry about who you're going to come upon and who's going to be part of the conversation. You just know that you're going to be happy at the end of it.
Good point.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah. And the goal is to be happy, to have fun, be joyful.
Yeah.
To be that. Yeah.
If any of you are interested in tuning into more wisdom and learning a little bit more about Carol Collins and the Teachers, I highly encourage you to explore channelingtheteachers.com. There are some wonderful events scheduled. I believe there's an Our Knowing coming up. And Carol, I'd love for you to share a little bit about the upcoming trip to Antarctica, as well as some of the other events, classes, and the other things that are available from you and the teachers, if you wouldn't mind.
I would love to. So Antarctica is an annual trip. It is a cleansing place. It's a place to heal the emotional negativity and come back to life rejuvenated just from being there. But in addition to that, I'm having a workshop on the ship and a whole bunch of private sessions with the teachers. So that's what that's all about. So if you're interested in that beautiful area of the globe in a very fun way, beautiful ship, then just check out the website. It's the workshop, and the trip is called Resonance Live, and it's under the workshop tab. There's a series of workshops that the teachers do each month. There's a 4-part series called Enlightened, and it's new and different every month. It's every Monday night, and it's a series, and each 4-part kind of follows a theme, so the theme is different every month. And once a month is Our Knowing. It's conversations with the teachers. That's all Q&A. I just say it supplements private reading, an opportunity to engage with them on questions that are important in your life. It's not a teaching, lecture-based teaching moment about how the world works and things like that. It's guidance on any topic that's important to you. And then once a month, there's also a 4-hour healing workshop. And this one, I'd be hard-pressed to say which one was my favorite, but I really adore this one. It is coming up this weekend. And it always has evidential healing for physical pain, relationship pain, emotional pain, thought pain. There has always been evidence in the moment of people feeling better and physically feeling better. When you've got a pain in your hip or your elbow or a migraine, and they make it rescind on camera in front of a group of people, there's just, the evidence is so beautiful. I say, for anybody that really wants to see what healing is all about, I am not the healer. I am not the conveyor of information. It does not come from me. I don't tune into your subconscious and know what's going on with you. It flows in an out loud way. That's what channeling is. And they are amazing at what they do. And so I just invite anybody, visit the website. And if you feel drawn to something, then lean into it. There's some subscriptions, too. There's Synergistic Wellness. It's a digital magazine that comes out every single month. It's $10 a month. And it is just filled with guidance from the teachers on a variety of different things. It's new and different every month. And then there's just subscriptions to, for anyone that really, really enjoys the workshop, the subscription helps you engage with them at a discount. And it helps you to be able to go month after month after month. So check that out. It's my pleasure and my delight to bring those. And so there's something going on every week throughout the year. So.
Yeah, and I just want to mention, because there is so much power and so much energy in words and the information that the teachers bring through. But one of the things that they brought through in this Purely Channeled magazine is poetry. And if you just wouldn't mind just speaking a little bit about how that came about. I don't know, there's just a different energy to it than just the regular channeling.
It's funny. When I was in the 6th grade, I wrote a poem and I won a prize. And for that, poetry has been something that I was always fond of. It's just, Rumi is really why I asked my guide if he would do that, because when you read Rumi, it's the poetry of Rumi. It's not the quotes of Rumi. It's not upliftment messages of Rumi. It's the poetry of Rumi, and I adore that. But what is poetry but an upliftment message, right? And so I just said, I would like that to be attributed to the teachers. And my guide raised his hand and he said, I'll do that one. And it was kind of funny because I had awareness of a conversation that was going on, and they said, we're going to hand it over. We're going to hand it over. And they said, Carol, this one is not going to come from the teachers. This is going to come from the guide of you. And so I just say, this is fun. So in my own lifetime, the poetry of James, he calls it musing. And I love that. And they're beautiful. Sometimes they rhyme and sometimes they don't, but gentle musings, because the guidance in it is gentle by nature. And sometimes they rhyme and sometimes they don't. They're beautifully crafted. And the digital magazine has some sprinkled in it almost every month. And Lisa doesn't know this yet, but, she sort of knows it. We've talked about it just a little bit. But she's going to help me put the collection of them together and hopefully sometime this year get them published. I don't have quite enough yet to say the book is complete, or at least the first volume complete, but it's getting there. But it's Rumi. I love poetry, and I really have a soft spot for it. But the idea of Rumi's poetry, I don't know how poetry got attributed to Rumi, but I just think it's so
fantastic,
beautiful. It just makes you. Quotes are everywhere. Everybody's got a quote.
Amazing.
But just calling it poetry just made it so much more fun. Even more fun.
It is. Yeah, when I found Rumi's poetry and Hafiz's poetry, and I would read these words, and they go back to the 16th century, and they would just take my breath away, and they're timeless. And that's what I love about the poems that I've read. James has brought forth.
Yeah. Gentle musings, and it is philosophical. It's gentle. It's timeless, and it perpetuates peace and peaceful way of thinking and peaceful way of engaging, and I love it. And so poetry from James, poetry is timeless.
Oh, thank you so much.
Words of wisdom. Timeless words of wisdom.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And please, all of you, remember we're becoming more of who we truly are in the teachers and Carol. And Michael, you remind us all of that too. I'm so grateful. And so I think this week, let's all go out and be more friendly, send more love, more connection to the world this week, because the teachers show us what's possible. And I'm just So grateful. Thank you. And until next time, be in peace, joy, and in friendly longevity. Peace out.
And so it is.